The topic is the Family Foundation Fund, and we're talking to Mr. OKirk. And of course, Mr. Kirk, during this last segment, let's give you an opportunity not only to continue some of the things that you've been talking about, but also to perhaps give our audience some direction in terms of what they might be able to do to assist you in reaching out to touch the lives of these young people.
Well, Dr. Haney, we look for men who love the Lord and who fear the Lord and who are willing to partner with us to be surrogate fathers. Typically, we look for men who are between the age of, say, 40 to 65. That doesn't mean that younger men can't apply. But see, if you're between that age of 40 to 65, more than likely you have already brought your own children through that period of adolescence. So experientially, you know some of the challenges that you're going to confront and have to deal with. So we look for that, but we want men who understand how to cover as well. And see, and that's an area that I find as I talk to men and men's group around the city that we're kind of void of understanding. To be able to cover effectively, you have to walk with the Lord. See, He is our covering. And He wants us to be able to cover those that He's given us responsibility for. My wife and my 8 kids, I have to cover them. And now how does that work? First of all, I have a prayer life where I'm going to talk to the Lord. And as I talk to the Lord, just like I talk to you, you talk back to me. Well, see, the Lord does speak to us. This is foreign to many people. They believe in prayer, but they don't believe in Him speaking back to them. See, if you understand, Abraham, he didn't have a Bible to read, but he knew what to do because he talked with the Lord. Moses didn't have a Bible to read. The Bible hadn't been written. But he knew what to do because he talked with the Lord. Adam, obviously, what came in the cool of the tree was the Lord's voice. That's what Adam's relation. He knew the Lord. He knew His voice. Jesus tells us in Matthew, "My sheep know my voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not follow." So in order to cover, we have to walk with the Lord and have a prayer life to be in communion with the Lord. That He will begin to show us and tell us things that pertain to our family and those that we cover. For instance, there's one young man in our mentoring program that the Lord had shown me just, I guess, last spring. He was standing in the middle of a desolate place, and he was naked from the waist up. And the Lord showed me that something was getting ready to happen. Well, what happened was, within 2 months' time, his grandmother signed him out of the program. In other words, she removed him from the covering. He was standing naked and in a desolate place. And the Lord showed that 2 months before. And of course, we're still in a relationship. We pray with him, and he's being restored to the program now. But what I'm saying, the Lord showed that even before it happened. Now, the Lord wants to commune with us. He wants us to show us things. And this is not anything new. You know, he says, to them He foreknew, He also predestined. In other words, He has known us before we were in our mother's womb. And He has destined us to do things here on the earth. He destined you to be on this show and to host this show. For whatever purpose, He has destined me to be here today. He knew that from the beginning of time that we would be here on the show. Well, see, He knows all of these children. All of us were with God before we came to the earth. How do we know this? Jeremiah 1 says, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew thee. And He tells Jeremiah, I commissioned you to be a prophet. So before we were in our mother's womb, we were in the mind of God. We were in the Spirit of God. We were with Him. Then He sent us to the earth for a mission. Now His order in the earth can be found in 1 Corinthians 11. The head of every man is Christ. The head of Christ is God. And the head of the woman is the man. So that's His order in the earth. So if we try to remove His order, then what we have is a breach. And in that breach, the devil is able to implement his plan. That's why being a surrogate father and caring for those who are fatherless or caring for the single moms or the widows are so crucial. You'll find that normally when there's been a divorce, almost immediately after the divorce, there will be sickness in the home. And I heard Dr. OKirk3 talk about some of this. You know, that there will be sickness in the home, there will be anxiety and distress. Children will become rebellious.